The Trump administration is pulling back radically on efforts to stop human trafficking. You know, the stuff that Jeffrey Epstein was accused of. Why are they doing this? I mean, you know, Trump is like pro-human trafficking. Is that what's going on? Over at the Department of Homeland Security, they had, this is from The Guardian. This is a piece by Aaron Glanz and Bernice Young. At DHS, Trump has ordered agents formerly dedicated to investigating and arresting human traffickers to instead focus on deporting immigrants. Current and former DHS staffers interviewed by The Guardian confirmed that these investigators' day-to-day work has been broadly shifted toward deportations and away from investigating major crimes with real victims. Over at the State Department, the Trump administration slashed more than 70% of the agency's office to monitor and combat trafficking in persons. This is called the TIP office, Traffic in Persons, which is responsible for leading anti-trafficking efforts across the U.S. government. 70% cut in the workforce. They have also held up grants to nonprofit organizations that fight trafficking around the world, putting their operations and services at risk. In addition, Glantz and Young write for The Guardian, the administration has also delayed release of an annual report that documents human trafficking across the U.S. and more than 185 other countries. Federal law requires that report be provided to Congress by the 30th of June, which was months ago, and it still has not been provided to Congress. Beth Van Schack, the ambassador at large for global criminal justice during the Biden administration, said, "The reality is that perpetrators will go free and international crimes will continue. It will take years to rebuild the expertise in our law enforcement and diplomatic corps." This is crazy. This is just crazy. I mean, you know, Republicans worked with Democrats to pass this. There's a landmark legislation back in 2000. You know, last year, the Clinton administration, it was called the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. And now the Trump administration is just gutting it. So how many different beauty potions do you have sitting on your bathroom counter right now, eh? If it's more than just Vibrant Super C Serum, listen up. The ingredients in this one bottle can replace your day creams, eye creams, night creams, neck creams, wrinkle creams, and dark spot reducers. In fact, Vibrance has been essential in getting rid of those stress lines caused by our stressful political situation in America. Made in the USA with the highest quality ingredients, including vitamin C, high hyaluronic acid, vitamin B5, and vitamin E, Super C Serum delivers noticeable results. Simplify your skincare routine, get a healthier complexion, and minimize wrinkles and age spots with Vibrance. And if you don't find it better than your current skincare routine, you get a full refund. So go to Vibrance.com/Tom, T-H-O-M, to save up to 37% off and get free shipping. That's Vibrance, Vibrance.com/Tom, T-H-O-M, Vibrance.com/Tom. Meanwhile, over at the Department of Justice, they published a study a while back showing that most of the violence, most of the political violence in America is committed by people on the hard right. A PhD student at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, his first name is Daniel, was the guy who discovered this, that on September 12th, the report is titled, "What NIJ Research Tells Us About Domestic Terrorism." Right? And it concluded that most of the political violence in the United States that's domestically generated, not, you know, this wouldn't include 9/11 because that came from outside our country, but most of the domestic violence, political violence in America is coming from the right, not the left. And it was available on the Department of Justice website on the 12th of September, but on the 13th of September, it vanished. And of course, it was the 10th of September when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and they decided to use that as an excuse to just, you know, go after any Democrat, anybody on the left, anybody who speaks out, no more free speech in America, all because, you know, the left is, you know, perpetrating all this political violence. And it turns out, no, the left is not perpetrating all this political violence. This is an actual quote from the report. Quote, Militant, nationalistic, white supremacist, violent extremism has increased in the United States. In fact, the number of far-right attacks continues to outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violent extremism. Since 1990, far-right extremists have committed far more ideologically motivated homicides than far-left or radical Islamist extremists, including 227 events that took more than 520 lives. In this same period, far-left extremists committed 42 ideologically motivated attacks that took 78 lives. A recent threat assessment by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security concluded that domestic violent extremists are an acute threat and highlighted a probability that COVID-19 pandemic-related stressors, long-standing ideological grievances related to immigration, and narratives surrounding election fraud will continue to serve as a justification for violent actions, of course, by people on the right. And now if you go looking for that file on the Department of Justice website, on Kristi Noem's website, you get an error that says this page could not be found.